What's up, extraordinary people? I'm Daniel, and today I'm going to be ranking every Disney movie that came out this year in 2022. Before I get into it though, let me briefly explain what films I considered eligible for this list. This is not a list ranking every film released by the Walt Disney Company in 2022. That would be way too long, there's way too many movies, and most of them don't really have anything to do with what most people consider to be the Disney brand. So here's my criteria for what made it onto the list. First, any film released in theaters or on Disney Plus under the Disney brand with the Disney name or logo on it. Second, any Marvel or Star Wars films, since those brands are considered to be part of the Disney brand. And third, any 20th Century Studios films that are closely associated with the Disney brand. So basically just Avatar: The Way of Water, due to Pandora: The World of Avatar being at Walt Disney World, and all the Avatar merchandise that's sold on Shop Disney. So it's basically a Disney film despite not having the Disney name on it. So what was not included was any film released by the Walt Disney Company that's not part of the Disney brand, TV specials like Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special because it's not a movie, TV movies, concert movies, or filmed plays, because I don't really consider those to be movies in the same way. So according to my criteria, there were 19 Disney films released this year. And if you want to see standalone reviews of any of those films, I'll have those linked in the description. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Starting off our list with the worst Disney film of 2022, number 19, Pinocchio. This movie sucked on every possible level. The visual effects were garbage, the story was garbage, the characters were garbage, and the acting was garbage. This movie just did not need to get made. The original is perfect, and this remake just adds nothing to it whatsoever. I rate this movie 1 out of 10. Number 18, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. This is one of the blandest movies I've ever seen. While not completely painful, this movie will put you to sleep with its dull animation, boring story, and total lack of any jokes, imagination, or anything interesting. I rate this movie 2 out of 10. Number 17, Disenchanted. This sequel to the absolutely wonderful film Enchanted doesn't recapture any of its magic or charm. Despite an amazing cast and visuals, Disenchanted feels like nothing more than an excuse to revisit this world and characters, without so much as an ounce of decent plot or character development. I rate this movie 2 out of 10. Number 16, Night at the Museum, Kamen Ra Rises Again. This animated entry in the Night at the Museum film series feels like a retread we've seen a million times before. While it has some cool sequences and some competent plotting, this movie is overall very lackluster and very by the numbers. I rate this movie 3 out of 10. Number 15, Hollywood Stargirl. This sequel to the Disney Plus original film Stargirl stars the very likable Grace VanderWaal and has some beautiful cinematography and great messaging. However, its lack of any compelling conflict or character development makes it feel very mediocre. I rate this movie 4 out of 10. Number 14, Polar Bear. This nature documentary contains some breathtaking footage of polar bears in the wild, as well as competent edutainment about their lives. However, this movie is held back by its bizarre first-person narration and lack of fully committing to its message. I rate this movie 6 out of 10. Number 13, Sneakerella. This Cinderella-inspired musical about a New York wannabe sneaker designer has a fun story, likable characters, and decent visual inventiveness. However, hit-or-miss songs and some questionable plot elements keep it from truly standing out. I rate this movie 6 out of 10. Number 12, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This movie should have been mind-blowing. Instead, we got a decently fun and action-packed film that was severely lacking in imagination and character development. I rate this movie 6 out of 10. Number 11, Lightyear. This Pixar film's premise makes no sense and most of its characters are pretty forgettable, but it does have a lot of cool visuals, interesting story elements, and fun sequences. And an adorable robot cat. I rate this movie 6 out of 10. Number 10, Thor: Love and Thunder. This movie should have been so much better than what it was. Despite a really solid premise and some really inspired ideas, especially in the climax, this film was mostly a joke-ridden mess completely devoid of subtlety, creating a very uneven viewing experience. I rate this movie 6 out of 10. Number 9, Better Nate Than Ever. This musical about a boy who runs away to audition for a Broadway musical feels kind of cheesy at times, but is overall a fun and heartfelt film about the importance of doing what you love. It's hard to fully love this film, but it's also hard to truly dislike it. I rate this movie 7 out of 10. Number 8, Cheaper by the dozen. This movie about an enormous blended family didn't have any great ambitions, but ended up being a lot more fun and thoughtful than it had any right to be. While it certainly won't win any awards, it's a heartwarming family film of a type that seems to be in very short supply these days. I rate this movie 7 out of 10. Number 7. Hocus Pocus 2. This sequel to the 1993 cult classic Halloween film is aiming for silly, ridiculous fun and hits its target head-on. While it's not for everyone, if you're on board for it, it's a hilariously good time with charismatically goofy performances, spooky thrills, and some surprising emotion in the third act. I rate this movie 7 out of 10. Number 6. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. This Who Framed Roger Rabbit spin-off was one of the most imaginative films I saw this year, with a surprisingly heartfelt story as well. It's a weird concept, but once you embrace it, it goes to some truly inspired and wacky places. I rate this movie 8 out of 10. Number 5. Rise. This film about Milwaukee Bucks basketball player Giannis Antetokounmpo is a fascinating and engaging telling of its main character's true life story. With great performances, engaging characters, meaningful drama, and thoughtful themes, this is definitely one of the better Disney sports films of recent years. I rate this movie 9 out of 10. Number 4. Strange World. This animated adventure film was bursting with imagination, thrills, and heart. It's the kind of movie Disney doesn't make too often, but I really wish they did. That just takes you on a wild adventure through fantastical worlds with memorable characters and strong themes. I rate this movie 9 out of 10. Number 3. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This movie had so much to live up to, what with handling the death of Chadwick Boseman and continuing the first film's story. But in my opinion, it absolutely rose to the challenge with Oscar-worthy performances, exciting action scenes, deep characters, and an engaging story. This is the kind of Marvel movie I've been missing. I rate this movie 9 out of 10. Number 2. Avatar: The Way of Water. This movie was amazing. The visual effects are the best ever put to film, the action scenes are tense and riveting, the world is fully immersive, the drama is gripping, and the characters and story are strong and effective. This is pure cinematic entertainment at its finest. I rate this movie 10 out of 10. And finally, what's in my opinion the best Disney film of 2022, number 1, Turning Red. This movie is absolutely fantastic. I love everything about it. The visuals are inventive and expressive, the characters are deep and complex, the story is brilliant, and the film overall is a powerful emotional experience that anyone can relate to. It's not just the best Disney film of the year, it's one of the best films of the year. I obviously rate this film 10 out of 10. Alright, so there you have it. That's my ranking of every Disney film that was released in 2022. Let me know what your favorite Disney movies this year were down in the comments, if you agree with my ranking, if you disagree with it, and what your ranking would be. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and remember that you're extraordinary. I love all of you so much. Bye.
'Cause you're extraordinary. Yes, you know it's true. Extraordinary.